Time is 6:30 p.m. and the Louisville Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of October 7th, 2014 is now called to order. The next order of business, and there is a quorum present. The next order of business is approval of the minutes of the September 2nd, 2014 meeting. If there's no additions or corrections, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is that Sean?
Second.
Seconded by Steve. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Agenda item 3 is a public hearing for consent agenda for plats. There are 4 listed. I'll read all 4 of them. We'll open up a public hearing. And unless there's any objection or any of them to be removed, we will vote on them as one action. So 3A is the final plat of Liberty Baptist 2 Edition, Lot 1, Block A. It is a 0.879 acre tract. Old Town Mixed Use 2, OTMU2, fronting both Walter Street and College Street between Charles Street and Mill Street. Agenda item 3B, final plat of Castle Hills, Phase 8, Section A. It's a 77.99 acre tract, designated Estate Townhouse ETH, containing 379 residential lots and 21 common areas, located on the north side of Windhaven Parkway, south of State Highway 121 and west of Josie Lane. Agenda item 3C, final plat of the Manors of Vista Ridge 1 Edition. It's lots 7R through 9R, 18R through 20R, 34R, and 35R. Block C, 7R and 8R. Block D and Hampshire Drive. It is a 0.7455 acre tract, zoned TH2, Townhouse 2, located in the southeast quadrant of Vista Ridge Mall Drive and MacArthur Boulevard. Item 3D, final plat of Discovery at Realm Edition, Phase 1, Lots 1, 2, and 3, Block A. It's a 23.271 acre tract. It's designated multifamily 3, MF3. It's located at the southern terminus of Standridge Drive at Windhaven Parkway. Commissioners, any questions? If not? At this time, we'll open up a public hearing. Anybody wishes to speak on any one of the 4 items, please come forward, sign in, and state your name. Having no one come forward, the public hearing is now closed. Commissioners, comments, concerns, questions? If not, may I have a motion?
Make a motion to pass.
Motion by Alvin to approve as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Brandon. Those in favor signify aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 4 is a public hearing for a plat. It's the final plat of Castle Hills Phase 7, Section A. It's containing 2 common area lots and Cheyenne Drive right-of-way dedications located in the city of Louisville. It is a 0.9194 acre tract designated Estate Townhouse ETH with 1 associated variance. It's located at the terminus point of Cheyenne Drive and Medical Parkway, and Medical Parkway located in the city of Carrollton. Jeff? You're not able to open yours up. Broke.
Top screen.
There we go. All right, good evening, Commissioners. This is a replat. The 2 common areas are shown here as 22XR and 23X. 22XR is this lot up here, and it's being bisected by a new right-of-way for Cheyenne Drive, which is located here. And then there's a small piece of that common area lot that is now going to be called Lot 23X. This is a recent plat that you approved earlier this year. This was earlier in 2014. With this plat, they made a connection to Medical Parkway to the south, which is in Carrollton. There was another street to the east called Cheyenne Drive that was not connected to by choice of the developer. Both of these streets, Cheyenne Drive and Medical Parkway, are existing streets in Carrollton. The agreement between Carrollton and Castle Hills and Louisville did not require connections to both streets. But since then, Carrollton has come forward and has they wish to connect Cheyenne Drive to the proposed street in the subdivision, which is called Damsel Caitlin Drive. Sorry, I didn't have that name written down. So Carrollton has, to make this work and the geometry to work, they have bought additional right-of-way or property from the neighboring hospital to straighten out the road alignment, and they are planning on funding the construction of the connection. The variance that's associated with this plat is the ordinance requires jogs and offsets of intersections of residential streets to have a 150-foot offset. This proposed alignment only has a 100-foot offset. But due to the advantages that we see, this connection will help the city of Carrollton to limit the amount of drive-through traffic that is driving through the hospital. So I brought in an aerial to kind of give you a little bit of a look of the current street configuration of Medical Parkway and Cheyenne Drive. There's currently a fire lane. Can y'all see that on your screens?
Yeah.
Okay. The hospital ER is right here. This is where they drive in. The porte-coche's here. The adjacent fire lane is cutting through, and it connects between Medical Parkway and Cheyenne Drive. And it's as you can see, it is a cut-through for a lot of people. That kind of, I think just north of here is a retirement home, or it's a nursing home. There's other medical office in the area. So we're Carrollton wishes to try to minimize the cut-through traffic going through this hospital property. So they think, and I agree, that it will maybe minimize it to a certain extent. It also gives an advantage to the neighborhood. It gives them better access to Josie Lane, which is to the east. So currently, Medical Parkway goes south to Hebron Parkway, and then Josie Lane is the adjacent east intersection going north and south here. So Cheyenne Drive is this street up here, and it gives you direct connection from the neighborhood to Josie Lane. So we see this as an advantage for the neighborhood as well. So we as staff are for the variance. Is there any questions?
Questions, commissioners? No question? Okay, thank you, Jeff. At this time, we open up the public hearing. Anyone that wishes to speak on this subject, please step forward, sign in, and state your name. Okay, having no one come forward, the public hearing is now closed. Commissioners, comments, concerns? Not? May I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Brandon,
Second.
seconded by Sean. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, public hearing for zoning. Consideration of a zone change request from Office District OD to O-Town Mixed Use 2, OTMU2, excuse me, located on a 0.48 acre tract at 216 West Main Street, further identified as Thomas Addition, Lot 1, Block A. This request is being made by William Thomas, the property owner. This is case number PZ 2014 010-10. Peisha?
Good evening, Commissioners. There we go. All right. This request is a rezoning. It's for a property in Old Town, and just to orient you a bit, it is just south of on the south side of Main Street and just south of the MCL Grand Theater. And then it's just west of what we would consider the Old Town Center District, or kind of the core of Old Town. The existing home was built in 1934, and it's currently being used as an office. Our Old Town plan recommends rezoning to Old Town Mixed Use 2, which allows for a lot more flexibility in terms of uses. It permits both residential and commercial, sometimes together, if that's what the proposal is, and it also provides much smaller setbacks if this property was to be redeveloped. It's my understanding that the applicant does not wish to redevelop at this time. He just wishes to rezone in order to come into compliance with the recommended designation for the property. And he is here to answer any questions, and I'd be happy to answer any that you might have.
No? All right, thank you, Peisha. This time we'll open up a public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak on this subject, please come forward, state your name, and sign in. All right, having no one come forward, the public hearing is now closed. Commissioners, comments, questions? If not, may I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Steve to approve,
Second.
seconded by Alvin. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 5B, consideration of a zone change request from Light Industrial L1 to Local Commercial LC, located on a 4.302 acre southwest corner of Vista Ridge Mall Drive and Denton Tap Road, further identified as High Point Oaks, Lot 2, Block B. This request is being made by Brad Larson of the Door Church on behalf of the property owner. This is case number PZ 2014-1011. Peisha?
All right, this is a property located in the southern part of Louisville, and as you can see from the exhibit, it's on kind of a long, narrow lot adjacent to Denton Tap Road and then just south of Vista Ridge Mall Drive. Churches are allowed in any zoning district within the city by law. However, with each zoning district come different development standards. And in this case, the zoning of light industrial requires a 50-foot setback adjacent to residential. This property is zoned estate townhome. You may remember it from 2012. We just rezoned that property. And so on this narrow piece of property, they'd be required to provide an additional 50-foot setback before they could build or provide any buildings. The proposed zoning of local commercial cuts that in half. It only requires 25 feet of rear setback. And staff is in support of this rezoning because in the event that the church did not develop on this property, local commercial is a much less intensive zoning district than light industrial and provides for uses that are more in keeping with the adjacent residential, such as services and restaurants and retail primarily, and office. So staff is recommending approval of this rezoning, and we are happy to answer any questions you might have.
Commissioners?
This is for the church. There are no plans right now. They just want to change the zoning.
I'm sorry?
I said the church just wants to change the zoning right now. They don't have any plans to develop anything.
Correct.
right
They
now.
would have to, in the future, they would have to submit a plat and an engineering site plan, and we would get a little more information. But the first step is the zonings to establish kind of the setbacks and the development parameters in which they can create that plan.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Peisha. At this time, we'll open up a public hearing. If anyone wishes to come forward and speak on this subject, please do so now. Sign in and state your name. All right, having no one come forward, the public hearing is now closed. Commissioners, discussion, comments, a motion?
Motion to move to approve?
Move to approve by Sean,
Second.
seconded by Brandon. Those in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5C, consideration of a zone change request from Light Industrial L1, excuse me, and General Business GB to Planned Unit Development, PUD, and Public Use, PU, district zoning for Windhaven Crossing. It's a subdivision of 5 parcels totaling 35.243 acres located on the south side of State Highway 121 and bisected by the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad as requested by the Department of the Texas Development Services on behalf of the property owner, case number PUD 2014-0902. Pesha?
Good evening, Commissioners. This request is for what is known as a planned unit development. And you may remember a few months back, we changed the PUD requirements down to properties of just 5 acres and up. So we saw our first PUD in April at P&Z, I believe, and then this is our second one that we've had in recent history. The planned unit development allows for a mix of uses, and the development standards within that project may deviate from the city's standard zoning categories in exchange for provisions of what we would consider enhancements or improvements above what is required by our standard code. In this community, the developer is intending to integrate 372 attached single-family dwelling units with 2 commercial properties and then a property zoned for public use for future development by the city of Louisville for a water lift station facility. Within the, well, let me start by telling you exactly where this is. You can see that the north is State Highway 121 or Sam Rayburn Tollway. It's bisected by the Atchison, Topeka, Santa Fe Railroad, and then Windhaven Parkway is just to the south. So this property is on both sides of the railroad. On this side, I guess we'll call it the west side, it's currently zoned GB. And the proposed base zonings within a PUD, we request that the applicant designate base zonings, which is the closest district within the city's ordinance to which the project complies. This is the commercial portion, which is being requested for base zoning of General Business 2, which we'll talk more about in just a moment. And the large portion is being requested for rezoning to a base of Townhouse 2. Similarly, in this tract over here, on the corner is the commercial property. The middle is the residential. And on the south is that public use property. Surrounding uses, you can see to the east is the Castle Hills development. It's also the Assured Self-Storage, which is developed right along the freeway. This is an undeveloped piece of property zoned medical district. This is the previously Amaranth facility. And this is the Windale development that you might remember seeing that's developed with 2 commercial properties and also some ETH zoning. Let's see. As you may recall, the PUD process has 3 steps. This is the first step, which is it establishes the zoning for the area, and then the project would have to come back to you for approval of what we call the project plan and development plan, which are really the final plat and the construction plans. So this first zoning phase would need to be approved and get council approval in order for them to proceed with the next 2 steps. As most of you know, the 121 corridor is becoming quite the employment and entertainment hub with uses in Plano and Frisco and all the headquarters and shopping and entertainment uses in that area, as well as the job centers there and here in Louisville. With the new Grandscape development, that's the 400-plus acre project that's going to feature the Nebraska Furniture Mart, the new Toyota headquarters, and then the plat which you just approved earlier, the Realm at Castle Hills, those are all going to add significantly to the area's draws. Although we feel that the proposed density in this area, which is 12 units per acre, is significantly higher than what we would support in other areas of Louisville. In this area, we feel that such a density is probably warranted based on all these high-intensity uses and and we think that a low-maintenance townhome product would serve the people wanting to live in this area adjacent to all these jobs and entertainment options. We think it would serve them well. It's consistent also with the 2025 Vision Plan, which requests that we provide new housing choices for people in the area. And it's also a logical transition kind of from the non-residential uses adjacent to 121 to the Castle Hills development. As I previously mentioned, the residential component of this property contains 372 attached residences with the base zoning of Townhouse 2. There'll be about 1,300 square foot lots with 1,800 square feet of living space, and they will feature a variety of architectural enhancements. Each one will have at least two to kind of differentiate them from the others. And here are a couple. Here are a couple of examples of what those homes may look like. They're required to provide building materials which are above and beyond the materials we require by code. They'll have at least 80% masonry on the residences themselves, and then 85% of each home's front elevation would be masonry. And the community will feature at least 8 different housing elevations. Open space and recreation. Oops, that's upside down. All right, on the western side of the project, they're proposing a open lawn area with a play structure. And on the eastern side of the project is a kind of a community center with a swimming pool and a restroom facility for the residents. This area would be controlled by a homeowners association that would be responsible for all the maintenance. The commercial areas will likely be developed at a future time, so we don't have plans for them within this current PUD. However, what we did do was request that the developer restrict the uses to basically offices, service uses, retail, and residential. It would also allow for service stations, gasoline stations. But any type of auto repair or carpentry or the uses that are more incompatible with residential have been excluded out of the uses that would be allowed in the commercial components. All right, I think that the developer and his engineer are here to answer any questions you might have at this time. And planning is in support of this project. We think it would be a good addition to the area and provide a much-needed housing product.
And there's no foreseen variances or
Oh,
for
well,
utilities or setbacks or anything?
we think there will be a few variances, which we're still ironing out what those are as part of the preliminary plat.
Okay.
And so we would have to bring those back at a different meeting. I think there will be at least one or two. Just one now?
Okay.
We tried to reduce them as much as possible, but I think we'll still have at least one.
Sean?
I have many questions,
Okay.
probably for you and the developer as well. One, can you put the first piece you put out with that had the plat? I guess it's the plat with the concept plat
Oh, yes.
that had the different zonings that are there now and.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so GB2, which is going to Townhouse 2, is that going to be the sole residential?
Townhouse 2 is the sole residential base zoning for the entire property.
Be only that portion, or in these other portions to the, I guess, to the,
It'll be this large portion right here,
Uh-huh.
and this large portion right
Okay,
here.
all right.
It'll be so tract 2 and 4.
okay. and then track 3 will be in 5, these little ones. Is that going to be where will the common area be? Common areas
Let me
be?
show you.
I'm
I should have
confused-
shown
I'm
you this
confused.
exhibit already. Let's see, so on this property, the one that's on the west side,
Uh-huh.
this is where the play structure is. And then
Gotcha.
on the east side, the pool is down adjacent to Windhaven Parkway.
And will there be access from the east and west sides to each other? How will that,
The access will primarily be from Windhaven.
because you're coming across, okay. All right. Attached garages, will these have?
I'm sorry?
Will these pieces of property, I know it's early to ask, but will you, intend to have, are they going to have attached garages to these townhomes, or?
Yes, I
They-
believe the parking will be provided underneath the units. 2-car garages.
Okay. Then the last question I have just is a ballpark on, these look like they're fairly high-end townhomes. You have any ballpark on what kind of property values these will be?
Could I let, Henry, would you like to address that?
Just a range.
Or Marty?
They're not an $80,000 townhome.
Love to come forward. Good evening. My name is Marty Brown with Texas Development Services, representing both the property owner that'll be eventually retaining the GBD2 corners and the developer, Centurion American, they'll be developing the residential area. Yeah, the price point on these in the write-up, we're projecting about $250,000. So the total build-out of the residential is somewhere around $90 million worth of taxable value to the city in the residential area.
Okay?
You know, when this property was first zoned, you know, it wasn't envisioned that this area was going to be obviously residential developed, but with it on both the east and west of it now, it just makes sense that, you know, people at Castle Hills having light industrial backed up right against them. Challenge for us with single family was having the railroad tracks in between it and
Question.
in Windhaven. The nice thing about this project is it's going to secure for the city the last piece of right-of-way required to go ahead and construct that undercrossing. And with that undercrossing, there's, like Paisha mentioned, there's a small track that will be dedicated to the city as well as the right-of-way for a lift station that will be a pumping station there. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank
from
you.
any of
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, at this time, we'll open up the public hearing. Anybody wishes to speak, please come forward, sign in, and state your name. Okay, having no one come forward, the public hearing is now closed. Commissioners, more comments, concerns, questions? All right, may I have a motion?
Move to approve?
Move to approve by Sean,
Second.
seconded by Brandon. Those in favor signify aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Last item is item number 6. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
To adjourn. Second.
Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.